Hello everyone and welcome to part 2 of our planner setup. So in this part, what we're going to do is just focus on building our marketing plan because this can be really intensive and a little bit difficult to break down. I wanted this to have its own part. So go ahead and make sure you're reading through this brick by brick marketing section. It will help kind of build an idea for you of what I'm trying to do here. Build your foundation, whatever it is. This is an example, but I want you to build up to whatever works for you. So read through here, get excited, and then we'll get to our writing and publishing map. So pause wherever you need to so that you can catch up, do your reading, and get to your writing and publishing map. Now, the idea for this writing and publishing map is that you use this 12-month block to map out your writing and releases so you can determine when you're going to use promotions to drive your sales or downloads or whatever you're going to do to promote your book and get more visibility for your titles. Again, this also helps you plan your launches. So for example, if 3 months prior you seek bloggers for reviews so that you have enough time to get in the right spot on their schedule for your launch, or start building relationships on social media with influencers whose audiences might enjoy your work, or set up your reader magnets or welcome sequences. Whatever you're going to do, there are times 3 to 1 month prior or during the release month that you need to do in order to feel like you're not just throwing spaghetti at the wall or running around at the last minute to have a good launch. I want you to have a launch that you're proud of, that you feel like you gave 100% to, that you didn't just put together at the last minute. Those can be fun too, but they can also be very stressful. And planning is actually supposed to help us reduce that stress. So that's the whole idea here. So map out what you're going to write, when you're going to publish and release things. I actually sometimes will put like a W for writing and an E for editing so that I know what I'm supposed to switch off with writing and editing. So I'll put, like in January, for example, I'll put writing horror collection. So W, horror collection. In February, I put E for editing horror collection. And then March, P for polish horror collection, whatever it is, whatever your schedule is. My schedule doesn't look exactly like that. But just as an example, kind of map out when you're going to be writing, editing, polishing, publishing, launching, whatever you need to do. If you need a month of lead up to prepare your launches because you work a full-time or more than full-time job, or if you have a lot going on and you need time ahead, like dedicated time just to set up your launches, go ahead and schedule that in. Is it more important to be, putting out books, or is it really important for you in the coming year to have a really good launch that gives you the ROI you're looking for? I want to make sure that you are understanding what you desire from the coming year and setting up plans to help you achieve that. So again, if you need to take a whole month of April or March or whatever it is ahead of your launch or release date to set up your launch, then go ahead and do that. Consider doing something like that where you take a month just to prepare and that's what you focus on. Maybe carry your writing down to 30 minutes a day or whatever it is, whatever you need to do so that you can feel good about your release and what you've done to promote your newest book. And again, we want to get those sales. So if you want to break records, you got to break the mold and do something a little bit different. Find something a little different to do to improve your launches. So based on that map, you're going to go into this page, which is planning my releases. Based on the guidelines in that previous page, brainstorm what you need to do each month in order to have enough time to prepare for those launches. So basically, we're taking those shorthand notes of what you want to do here, and we're going to give it a little bit more detail. How can you generate buzz and reach more readers for every launch? So by month, I want you to go down and write what tasks you need to do. So here's where you can write shorthand up here and then expand on it on this page. Next, set your sales target. So that next page is all about just setting a sales target for your title, for your series. For me, it's just straight my big planners, my little planners and my launch planners, for example, they all get their own thing. I don't separate it by different covers for my planners. All my big planners get just one line, and I set a total sales target, sales, not downloads, of course, and target number. For my Small Town Secrets Thriller series, I might just say for that series, I want this many sales slash this many downloads slash this many page reads. So the point is, under goal, you put what is it that you're looking for. If you're looking for sales, just write sales or S, and then put the target number over here on the right. But if you want to separate it and you want, for one of your fiction books, you want to do a promotion, and so you do for book one, you want to get so many downloads, because you know of so many downloads on average, you get so many new reviews, and so many people will read through and buy books 2 and 3. So then you might want to actually set a downloads goal where you write D or downloads here in this column, and then you write that number of downloads that you want to target in this column. And then once you've set those, it will give you a better idea of what kind of sales targets you want. And then it is appropriate, I believe, to set a revenue goal for 2023. So sketch out a good, better, and best version of your goals or your target, your revenue targets. So this doesn't have to look like anybody else's. It doesn't have to be straight to 6 figures. It doesn't have to be straight to 7 figures. It just has to be what's right for you based on the sales targets you set up here. Now, if you're looking for doing 25% better on every title than you did last year, then calculate what that's actually going to look like before you set a revenue goal. Don't just set some random arbitrary number. Understand how much, what book you want to sell more of, or what series you want to sell more of, how much more than you did in this year, and then what that revenue will look like before you add it in here as a goal. But I gave you a big box, so you can, whether you use an erasable pen or not, you can kind of sketch out some ideas, do some math here, and just add things up. So use your shorthand or do math or whatever you have fun, whatever is going to make this a productive and enlightening experience for you. Next, set your visibility growth targets. If you know that you want to grow your sales and your royalties by 25%, then how much do you have to grow your visibility? If you want to grow those sales, you got to grow your visibility typically. So how many more email subscribers? Probably 4 times that at least, whatever it is now. Blog subscribers, Facebook page, wherever you're getting the most engagement, think about what you can do to grow that so you can continue to grow your visibility and get people to buy your books. Without visibility, it's really hard for people to even know about our work, nonetheless make a decision about whether or not to buy it. Next, if you do blog or you do podcasts, here is a great place for you to write down topics. And I gave you 52 weeks worth of topic spaces. So in these spaces, some people say, oh, they're small, but you're supposed to write shorthand notes. And typically I get 2 lines of text in these boxes, sometimes 3, depending on how I'm writing. And I do not have great handwriting, but I make full use of these spaces. I use shorthand. I'll be like New Year planning, or it will be, the rise of vigilante human trafficking resistance groups, or the rise of vigilante groups combating human trafficking for my thriller series, something like that. So I can write shorthand notes in these, so I can set up, if it's a whole lot easier to create a list of ideas than it is to say, oh no, I need to stop my week or my month and try to figure out what to write about next, or to talk about next on my podcast, or to write about on my blog, whatever it is. If you have the ideas already there, you can pick and choose and say, oh, this number 6, this is perfect for this week's blog or podcast, or even for your newsletter if you want to put something interesting in there. So go ahead and use this page to come up with 52 different ideas, and really seed ideas. They don't have to be all fully fleshed out, but seed ideas, things that inspire you that you could write about on your blog or talk about on your podcast, or even put in your newsletter. Next, collaboration opportunities. So try to find some or think of some authors, preferably in your same genre, that you can collaborate with in the coming year for shout outs on social media, newsletter swaps, reader group administration. That's like sharing the task of administering and like posting and handling takeovers and reader groups, and book group release parties. So, or group book release parties. So when you do like a whole group and everybody's sharing their releases, who can you collaborate with that is in your same subgenre that is solid with their promotion and their readers enjoy being around them. And either way, just think about who you can collaborate with. Search for blogs or influencers that serve your ideal readers. Identify those who you could guest blog for or perform social media takeovers with, or even get interviews with on YouTube or on their podcast. And keep that list here because you can refer to it later throughout the year. Which websites, blogs, podcasts, channels, etc., would you love to be interviewed for? So it's kind of an extension of this one, but it was very specific to interviews because it is different than like guest posting or something like that. Next, your social media plan. Now there is a little bit here, a lot here, but it's because social media is one of those free things you can do. And I believe that even if it's not something that you enjoy doing, it is an experiment in flexing your writing muscles so that you can learn to write about your book in a way that entices your ideal reader and makes it clear who your ideal reader is. So I give you all 12 months worth of little mini calendars to sketch out what your social media plan can look like for the coming year. So for example, if you're not launching in these 2 months, then you can just have some regular posts go out. Mondays are quotes, Tuesdays are reviews, Wednesdays are excerpts, Thursdays are silly, Friday is a straight up promo where you say, have you added this book to your shelf yet, or whatever. Saturdays can be, whatever it is for you that you want to set up content buckets for each different day. Go down the line, create the graphics, schedule it out, each day. I do all my Mondays, then I do all my Tuesdays and Wednesdays, and that makes it really easy to schedule 60 days at a time. So for a month where you are launching, say you're launching on the 5th of March, so I would spend February preparing what you're going to post on social media in advance of that launch to get people really excited when you're going to do your cover reveal. So when you're looking at this calendar, go through and insert your special dates first, your deadlines, your release dates if you know them, your expected launch dates, so that you can reverse engineer your social media plan so that you're not, again, scrambling at the last minute to come up with a plan for your social media to ensure that you are getting the greatest visibility for your upcoming release. So that is your social media planning section. Finally, we have paid advertising here. So if you can estimate your expected financial situation for the past year, because we're not quite at the end of the year yet if you're watching this in 2022, but develop a rough estimate of how much, based on the past year, that you will be able to invest in 2023. Figure out what that number is for you. Maybe you just do an average monthly, or you do, your yearly total, whatever it is. And then that way, okay, I have this much to work with at least, or I should have that much to work with. And I have to be very careful about how I spend that, financial resource. So I want you to keep a running list of any instructors, courses, websites, books, whatever that you use to learn about your, your advertising, whether it's newsletter swaps, newsletter features, paid newsletters, or if it's a course like Self-Publishing Formula has so many courses, or Brian Cohen, if you're in the Author Transformation Alliance, which is my private group, then we have classes on paid advertising. No matter what you're in, I want you to make a list of these resources, either that you've already purchased or that you would like to purchase, match it up with your budget, and then figure out which course or whatever, or book you're going to read each month in order to learn what you have to make the most of your advertising dollars in 2023. All right, guys. So that is the end of my marketing. But the point is to give you a solid foundation, a sort of launch pad for your marketing in 2023. If you already have these things figured out, and it doesn't seem like that much, but again, just take it one page at a time. When you have these things figured out, and especially in order, it is a lot easier to not throw spaghetti at the wall or spin your wheels or have the same depressing launch over and over again. Okay. I want you to have a better launch every time. And planning is one of those tools that allows you to experiment and have greater oversight of your launches so that you know what's working, you know what's not working. And if you don't have a launch that's better than the next one, it's not really hard to identify why or what you did differently that made it worse. It's a lot harder to identify why when you're scrambling at the last minute. You just kind of shuffle things together and you don't have a plan. So please let me know. I hope this resonated with you. I hope you find that this gives you a solid base. And I would set a timer, set 30 minutes to work on your My Marketing section so that it's done, it's solid, and it doesn't fall under the radar for you. All right, guys, thanks for watching.